Organized. I'm Tara Bassett. It's Wednesday afternoon, and that is always Waggin Wednesday. It was, I think, the brainchild of a conversation between Kathy Weisbach and me where I was talking about featuring animals, and she said, well, why don't we dedicate Wednesday out of all of the days of the week, Wednesday, and somehow Waggin Wednesday came up, which means it's all about animal issues, animal concerns. Dogs are a very important part of my life, and I love all animals, but I really am glad to be able to feature many, many different breeds of dogs and rescues and dog trainers and places that are of importance to dog owners, dog foods, shops where you can get special things. Look at her. She's just loving that. Oh, my gosh. Pat and Bill Lehnertz are with us from Kentuckiana Greyhounds, and this is on the couch is Jack. Let me just roll over here. I'm so glad we have this video because this is so much fun. That's Susie in the front. She's about 9. And there's Jack's little head popping up from the couch. And he is about 11, according to his mommy. And he's a bigger dog. Are all the male greyhounds pretty much the larger?
They are. He weighs about 85 pounds. Typically, you would see males more of the size she is. She's at 75.
Yeah,
but that's,
she's beautiful.
we know a greyhound that was 120 pounds.
Holy smoke.
A boy back in Texas. So they can be any kind of weight. They can be down to like 40-ish pounds probably. That might be on the very small size.
Yes, I can only imagine. That would be tiny. Where does the Whippet come in? Is that a completely different breed, or is it just a small greyhound?
It is a different breed,
yeah.
and probably the 40-pound range is the right size for the Whippet.
That'd be the top end of a Whippet, probably.
The top end of a Whippet?
Well, the larger size, I guess. 40, 45 pounds is probably full size for a Whippet. And then there's also the Italian Greyhound, which is
those are adorable.
The toy version. So you can
the
get any
toy
size.
Greyhound.
You can get any size you want.
Okay, give me some ideas about the specific. I know you know all this stuff, but if you don't, just say I have no idea. Don't ask me those questions, Tara. What is the anatomy of a Greyhound? How is the anatomy different from most? Because they have the long muzzle, they have the long neck, the very narrow bodies. How did that all get? Was that bred in, or was that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
The Greyhounds have been bred specifically for speed throughout the centuries. They have a very unique physiology. Their gait, in other words, how they run, is different from any other dog. They run like a horse with all 4 feet in the air at all times. A normal dog always has at least 1 foot touching the ground.
And they run with all 4 feet in the air. You're saying,
right? If you've seen the side of the bus where the dog is stretched out,
yes,
that's how they run.
Oh my God!
And even
it looks like Superman flying.
And
yes.
even at the full tuck position, all the feet are off the ground at that position also.
That's really interesting, and I was not aware of that.
Right, their heart, lungs are all larger. Even their ears are aerodynamic. And the nose is so they'll cut through the air quicker.
Isn't that funny?
Everything about them is made for speed.
And their ears go back, I guess, when they're running. But when she was looking at me a minute ago, Susie's ears were straight up in the air.
Well, most of the time their ears are flat back against their head, so they just for aerodynamics.
When Jack has his at a hey Jack, he puts his up. It's like a half cock position.
Let's see
That's
it. I'm just make people sick by moving this camera around. But
it's like I'm video.
What is Jack?
Jack.
What is it?
Treat.
He's thinking about
it.
He's thinking about putting
there,
it. There's a little bit up, but hers were like all the way up in the air. She was so funny.
And that they really shouldn't do that, but they will. I mean, that's not a breed standard
but
for them to stand up.
But they don't cut their ears or anything.
No. And actually, if you curve them just a little bit, they're supposed to make it looks like a little rose in there. And people worry because their ears set back on their head that they look like they're going to bite. Because when dogs put their ears back, but that's just their natural position because of the aerodynamics of it.
Well, it's interesting because Brady and Gracie both have ears that dangle.
Right.
They're really funny. And Wyatt has an ear very much. I'm convinced now that I'm looking at these guys that he's got Greyhound in him. But he's got the narrower muzzle. He's got kind of he almost has a husky look about him, a husky shepherd, but I'm thinking it might be Greyhound. And his ears are very similar to these. They kind of flop over. Shepherd's ears are, always apparently stand up, or at least they learn to stand them up. Yeah. But so speed-wise, when you start training a Greyhound, and I'm thinking it's like how to train your dragon. When you start training a Greyhound, how fast are they going to start running, and do they learn to do it, or are they intrinsically going to just take off and go at top speed?
So I'll tell you what I know. Bill can join me when he
Jump in anytime, Bill.
When I need help. So they do have to train them to run the track. They like to chase. They've been bred to chase. So the chasing part is in their blood. I don't know how fast, I don't know how the training actually works, but they can actually fail doggy running school.
Really?
And sadly, probably Susie did. But we think, we just told you she's very fast, but she gets bored very easily. So we're kind of thinking she ran around the track and she's like, been there, done that. I'll do it one more time. Nope, still nothing new, and wanted to do something else. So they want to chase, and they start doggy training school between 18 months to 2 years.
When do they reach their maximum growth, and do they actually get started to race, if that's what's going to happen to them?
I think by 2.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
old.
if they did really well at 18 months.
we're not in the racing industry.
Of course not.
But as we've been told, it's around 2 years old, 18 months to 2 years old, they begin their racing career. They're only allowed to race for 5 years.
Yeah, that was my next
until
question.
5.
Oh, until 5 years
Until
of age?
5 age.
Right.
So they start at 2, and they've got a 3-year career?
Yes.
Correct.
Wow.
And at the end of that, of course, they don't have any use for them anymore, and they get rid of them. Now, these dogs live 12 to 15 years on average. So that's a long life that they got, behind them. And even champions.
Right.
Once, you can be a champion, and they still just, have no use for them.
Once they usually breed the champions, so they may live to be 8 in the
Yes.
breeding facility, maybe a little bit older than that. We've known, Bill may not remember, 2 dogs, Revolution and just the other one went out of my head. One of them won $100,000 in their career, and one won $75,000, and they kept them in the breeding area so that they could try to make more champions.
But they still adopted them out when they were done with them. They had no use for them afterwards.
So it's kind of like thoroughbred horses, and they've got these places.
Maybe worse.
Yeah, well, they've got these places like New Vocations where they take in thoroughbreds and they retrain them for a new career, which is essentially what you're doing. You're retraining them to be house
we're training
pets
them to do this.
Yeah, lie around on the couch. When you see an animal in the breeding part of the industry, I'm imagining that, and this is why I think, of course, racehorses are treated like kings and queens, and that's because they have such a high, level of money at stake. Are these dogs put into a kenneled area where they never see freedom again, or do they still have a lot of freedom as they're going through this process in their lives of being studs?
Their entire life is in a kennel.
Oh, that's
So
they're either in a kennel, the turnout area, or the track until they come off the race course. For the most part, as far as we know.
And I don't know about the breeding area. It probably slightly larger, just because there's going to be puppies in there. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's very much.
But well, go ahead.
Well, I just learned recently that they put the female dogs on their kennels are above the males, because we had a situation at Gatlinburg when I was talking to Bill in the van. Susie all of a sudden decided she wanted in the van. Well, all that was open was the passenger window, and she went through it from outside to in. Well, then I later learned that's kind of how from a stand. Then I learned later that that's probably because she was used to jumping up into her kennel.
Oh,
but she shot through the passenger window.
I'm sure she did.
From a stand right in. It was a perfect shot.
Bill's like, did you help her? And I'm like, she had a plan. I couldn't do anything.
She sure did. My Lord.
But she made it. It was cool watching, and he's like, his angle was really good because she was aimed at him.
Oh, no. Were you in the car?
I was in the car. We were just we were getting ready to load him up. I rolled the window down to talk to her.
He was in the driver's seat.
And she came.
Did she land on you?
Oh, no. She landed on the seat just perfectly.
Passenger seat.
No problems. But
this
I wouldn't
is
suggest doing that.
I know.
It was very I mean,
I love these stories.
She was either going to make it or not.
So when a greyhound is born,
yes,
is it the tiniest puppy, just like my puppies were?
It looks
2 to 3 pounds, or
they don't look like greyhounds at all.
They don't.
No, they look like any other puppy.
So their noses are short.
Yep.
And they have to grow into
their tails are short.
We actually were lucky enough to get one as a puppy, and it was like one day something grew. And one was her tail. Her tail grew before her legs, so her tail was actually almost dragging the ground. And then one day her legs grew, and then one day her nose kind of just popped out, and then the last was
Pinocchio.
Was the belly, sucked up, and then she was a greyhound.
Oh my God, that's
But you would not
hysterical.
realize that's a greyhound by looking at a puppy. You wouldn't have any idea.
That's amazing.
It's really weird.
Well, you said suddenly this all happened. When does a Greyhound reach its full size?
About 1 year.
About a year. Well, that's pretty typical.
Yeah.
Except for Brady. My Brady was full size at 6 months.
I was going to say 6.
6 months. Yeah, he was always an overachiever.
And they may be more lean until they get, I think they're heightened off,
it may
and
fill
then they
in a
may
little
fill
bit.
out
Sure.
gradually.
Yeah,
a
that's
little
what
bit past
most of them do. Well, if you're looking for something to do tonight, Bryce and Kevin can help you. Our morning jam guys keep track of all the music that's going on in town, and of course, it's all local and regional musicians. And this is where they are tonight.
Let's take a look at the WCHQ concert view for Wednesday, September 28th.
About, go to CrescentHillRadio.com and hit the icon at the top of the screen that says List Your Gig.
Bryce and Kevin, the morning jam guys, 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. Always glad to hear the WCHQ concert view. You guys like to go out for music at night?
Not generally.
Not generally. The dogs probably don't want to go out.
They howl. We listen to them
Howling
howl.
at the moon. Yeah, the reason I asked you that is because there are so many great musicians that literally are all over the place, and they play at all these different venues all around town, and it's so nice to be able to to just go out and hear bands whenever you want to. But a lot of people pay a lot of money to go see very expensive bands, and we usually have local and regional musicians who perform for a very little bit. However, tonight the excitement is palpable, and that's because the Homegrown Radio Hour is happening. Brick Marlin is going to be my guest, and I'm so looking forward to hearing him tonight. 7 o'clock is the Homegrown Radio Hour, and I would like you not to miss it because it's really going to be spectacular. We are talking to the lovely and talented Leenertz family, Pat and Bill, and I just found out you're friends or your relatives of John. And now that I'm looking at you, I totally see John Leenertz in your face. You're brothers.
Yes.
Oh, that's too funny. We worked together in television a long time ago.
I'm the good-looking one of the
Yes,
two.
you're. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to say that about John, but but Jack is 11 and Susie is 9, and so glad to have you both with us in the studio today. It's much cooler now that we've pulled down the tape and opened the door, isn't it?
Much better.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine that they easily overheat because of all the running.
They get warm. One of the things about greyhounds is they do not regulate temperature really well, so they are not outside dogs.
Yeah.
Too hot or too cold can make a difference. If you need a jacket, probably they do. Usually, if I'm actually taking them for a WALK,
We don't want to say that out loud.
and we're going in the neighborhood, I might start them off with a jacket. Well, when we used to live in a neighborhood, I would start them off with a jacket until we got warmed up a little bit. But Jack does not like to do his business in a jacket, so I would end up like all
Jack.
mothers do, carrying the jacket back home.
Of course, Jack, you are such a diva. Is he
See,
shivering?
can you see the chittering?
That's called chittering.
Well, Brady does that too. What's that all about?
That is it means he's content.
Oh, really?
The more she pets him, the more he chitters.
Oh,
You can
that's
actually hear his
hysterical.
teeth
Nothing to do
clicking.
with
Yes.
He's not cold. It's just he means he's content. He's happy, and you can see he's pretty much relaxing.
Yeah,
He's calming down
Brady
now.
walks up to me and he's putting his little chin up to be scratched, and he's just like clacking away. It's
Yeah,
that's chittering.
We call it chittering. There's a whole dictionary of definitions for greyhounds.
Great, different from regular dogs, right?
One of them is we call cockroaching.
And
where
that is?
they'll lay on their back with their feet sticking straight in the air like a dead cockroach.
Now, see, this is great. He looks like a dead cockroach without a head because I can only get his body in the shot. Oh Lord, we're gonna have to get some different camera angles here. The poor little guy. I'm not gonna torment him by moving the couch again.
We were talking about some of the family issues. They're such low maintenance, like I mentioned with the bathing. There's not bathing. They don't need the brushing. Jack actually is very soft. He has an undercoat that normally it's not I don't want to say not normal because a lot of greyhounds do have it. But if you felt Susie, she's more slick, not as soft. He's softer, and that undercoat actually does make the most softest dust bunnies, unfortunately.
Oh no.
But usually it's not too bad with the greyhounds. They don't have it. They just don't shed that much. And with their medical, we were talking about the deep chest and things. Your veterinarian has to know about greyhounds because their thyroid is different. They have a weird valve. It actually makes it sound like a heart murmur.
Interesting.
So if your veterinarian does not understand greyhounds, you either need to change vets or help educate your veterinarian.
Right.
But that's happening more and more nowadays because the greyhounds are coming into the home instead of the tracks.
They're a lot more common than they used to be. When we first started, these dogs were nobody had ever seen one up close.
Right.
Unless they'd gone to a track.
Right.
I was actually stopped once while I was walking my dog and fussed at for starving my poor animal. I should be ashamed of myself. And I was like, this is how they always are. They're very slender dog. It's not starving. There was, one lady actually stopped. One of my had a very pronounced stripes on their brindle, and she stopped her car and asked me where I got the tiger from.
Oh, God.
Because she'd never seen a greyhound, and it looked so different from any other dog.
Okay, some people are just plain
Right. Don't know
strange.
better.
The tiger, because you often would walk a tiger down the street on a leash.
Well, they're
No.
just a very unique looking dog. They're very different from any dog.
Yes.
They're very calm, very reserved, very regal. We call it.
Do they gain weight after they are finished at the track?
They can. You have to
Yeah.
be careful of some of them. We self-feed ours. They do fine. Other dogs have to be regulated on how much food they eat.
Right.
Otherwise, they will. We had one that would explode if we just let her eat.
Right.
She wanted to make sure all the pans were clean.
Yeah.
Now, they're probably about 5 to 7 pounds heavier than racing weight.
I see.
To come
Well,
home,
they're-
and that's a good weight. You should be able to feel their back or their hip bones.
Yes.
And you should be able to see at least 3 ribs. And I found on the brindles that's very difficult to do. Bill mentioned their long lives. 12 to 15 is great for a big dog.
Yeah, it sure is.
In addition, they do not have hip dysplasia.
That's
That's
good.
a really wonderful
That's the only big
thing.
dog that does that.
Is that due to the fact that they've exercised so much, or
I think it's just
Just the
because
genetics?
That's
just
the-
genetics, and if they did it, I'm not even sure any have
Well,
ever done it.
The racing industry doesn't want sick dogs.
right?
So they bred out anything that's a detriment to the race. They're going to breed out of it. So they don't want hip dysplasia. They don't. These dogs are very, very healthy for the breed.
Yes.
They have very few what do you call it? Genetic problems because they've been breeding them for so long. We can trace their ancestry back. These dogs themselves can be traced back for I don't know how long. I mean,
There's a Greyhound data website out there. Then you can actually found that Jack's grandfather is on one side is the same grandfather. It's Susie's great grandfather. So they actually have one.
interesting.
The child after that wasn't related, but we had friends and
You
their
said they're
dogs.
siblings, right?
They're adopted.
Oh, adopted.
We call them brother
and
and
sister. Well, I
sister.
do too. Yeah, I have a pack of brothers.
But
and
they're
a
not
sister.
true siblings.
Okay.
No, they just have that one genetic history together.
What got you into specifically greyhounds? I mean, did you ever have any other breed dog?
Well, we snuck a Dalmatian in, which Bill regrets. She was my baby, and let me just tell you a little bit about Dalmatians,
bite
just
you?
real quick.
no.
Okay.
Dalmatians-
She did bite 2 children though.
That's
Dalmatians are guard
Well, nipped 'em,
dogs.
didn't hurt 'em.
They are not the Pongo in the movies.
No,
they are
they're
guard dogs.
definitely-
If you have a Dalmatian and you're the house where all the kids come over, all those kids are going to be protected. But if you're the house where kids just come every once in a while, you can have an issue. So there's my spiel on Dalmatians. They're wonderful. People say they're stupid. I think they're extremely smart and very stubborn.
Fascinating.
But what got us into greyhounds was when we found the first one, and we just haven't had any other breed. We found Lady in 82. Sorry, thought she was about a year and a half old. She lived to be she only lived to be 10, but we don't know what her history was before that. And after that, we had a short break, and then we was part of the beginning of a greyhound group called Greyhounds Unlimited in Texas, and they had found a lot of times the tracks, instead of disposing of the dogs, which at least that's humane, as opposed to just letting them loose when all they've known is the kennel life. They don't know cars. They don't know how to fend for themselves. But some would just let them loose. And there was 5 running around, and one of them did get hit by a car.
Aw.
One of them ended up being pregnant, probably from one of the others that it was loose with, and that was the puppy we ended up with, was from that, the second dog out of the group.
How long have you guys been together?
Us
Yeah.
married?
Yeah.
We're just newlyweds. We're 35 years.
35 in May.
That's a lot. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary in May. That's very exciting. And the number of dogs that have come through your life have probably cemented that relationship, yes?
I'm sure there's been many occasions where we're together because of the dogs.
Yeah. I can only imagine. John, what do you do for a living?
John.
Shit. Okay. Bill. John, I
say
hope you're
John.
listening out there. Bill, the better looking of the Leonards brothers.
That's
What do
right.
you do for a living?
I'm an aircraft mechanic. I work on the airlines. I work for Compass Airlines,
Oh,
which
cool.
flies for Delta Airlines.
Yes.
So they call them regional jets. I repair and work on those.
I have somebody in the neighborhood who's 20 years old who just told me on Sunday he wants to be an aircraft mechanic. I'm going to have to put the two of you together.
Yeah, okay.
You're going to have to tell him how to get to where he wants to go.
Okay.
I don't think talking to Bill's the path.
Now, that wasn't very nice, Pat.
I think it might be true, though.
Pat,
You
what
gonna argue
what
with
do you
me?
do for a living besides rescue greyhounds?
I'm an accountant. I work at LG&E.
Excellent. So you've got any flexibility or no flexibility? Do you guys do the 8 to 5 thing every single day?
I'm a 7 to 4, so I had to leave just a little bit early to get here today. Bill's
I'm an 8 to 7:30 in the morning,
he works nights.
Wow.
third shift.
So that's why you've lived for 35 years in
Yeah.
happiness. You don't have to.
We've only seen each
see
other for about a year.
We've even lived 15 months apart twice, but I'm not sure that was helpful. Sometimes that's worse because you kind of grow apart
Long
too.
distance relationships can do that to you. Absolutely. So look at her. She's coming over to get her little rear end scratched.
More scritches for
loves it.
Susie.
She is just so affectionate with you, and Jack seems to just be a little bit more laid back, a little bit more of a loner, maybe.
He is, but he also has one of the rare things that greyhounds do get is corns on their feet, and he does have corns. I don't know, it's the second toe from the outside. If you
Oh,
can
I
see that little
see
opening,
it.
one of them I took care of, so it's like a hole.
Yeah.
And the other one's forming again, and that is a thing. They think it's maybe from the track and from the angle that they
Sure.
run.
Does it cause them pain?
It does because they actually root up into the bone. They're not
Oh,
like our
man.
corns.
Oh, that's
so if
terrible.
they get horrible enough, they consider taking the toe off.
Oh.
But all that does is change. They'll get another corn someplace else. It changes their gait.
Oh, poor Jack.
So it's not a good thing. So he does tend to lay more because of that. He is,
Hard floor hurts his feet more than grass doesn't bother him, but hard floor hurts his feet. So
it doesn't slow him down. And if we're going to be someplace, well, it does slow him down a little bit. But if we're going to be someplace where we're going to be like we go to Rural King and walk the dogs because it's one of the places you can take dogs.
Where did you say it was?
Rural King. We live in Shelbyville. It's like
kind of like
Tractor Supply.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And they also
Similar.
take dogs. Home Depot, Lowe's. They also let you walk your dogs in
Which is
there.
a lot
Bass Pro Shop.
Bass
it's
Pro.
a lot of fun.
Dick's,
Yes.
I think
Love
also.
going to those.
I bet they do.
It's just
They're the
give-
stars when we go.
Well,
Let's give some more free advertising.
when my dogs were little, I used to take them to Home Depot, and the guys who worked in there were hysterical. They were like, "Just let him go, just let him go," and they would
Yeah, no.
skid down that concrete aisle. They were like this, they were barely 5 pounds, and they just had their run.
But we will put a booty on him on the
Yes.
feet just to help soften it. He doesn't like it, and I think he's happier. It depends on how long we're going to be somewhere.
Exactly.
On his likelihood of lasting in the boot.
Aw. They actually are doing very well, considering they're in a new place. Scary place here with all of this equipment and, the concrete floor and the
I'm
lights.
scared.
You should be. But it's interesting because there are dogs who come in who are afraid and they spend the entire hour underneath the table. What are they going to do when our next guest comes in, which should be happening in
Hope
about
it's not a cat.
30 seconds. No, we don't have any more Waggin Wednesday guests, but I think he already heard the door open.
Probably nothing.
Probably nothing,
Though Susie will probably go over to them. Jack may or may not. It'll be fine.
but they won't bark.
Oh no.
They probably won't bark.
Do you ever hear them bark?
We can get them to bark.
All right, get them to bark. Come on
Really?
in. Come on in, next guest. Come on in.
I need a
There are
treat.
2 greyhounds. Don't be afraid.
I have to stand up.
People always get this look of joy
I
on their
guess they come
faces.
visit.
Holy smoke. Look at that, just that feeling of joy. Mommy's going to go we got to move the camera here. Mommy's going to go get some more treats.
You can see they're very, very scary dogs to be around.
Terrifying. She's putting her Starbucks down, and she's going to give a lot of attention. Okay, so give her instructions, Pat. What does she have to do?
Her? That's not going to work. You can just give Jack something. Oh, Jack can bow. Can you see him? Do you want tricks?
Yeah, let's do some tricks. I love
Give
it.
her the throw.
Okay, let me give the camera a little bit of...
Good girl.
Oh, good job.
Throw one to her.
Jack, bow. Bow.
All the way.
Oh, they're doing it together.
Bow.
Oh my gosh.
Come here.
How cute. Now, I'm
He's
not on
cheating.
you can't get on camera over there, Pat. Hang on just a second. Okay. Oh, what a cutie pie.
Okay.
Oh, they're so precious.
Did you see her? You can't hear me.
I did. Yeah, we can't hear you, so why don't you talk, Bill? Why don't you say what we're doing here?
Well, Pat's trying to get her to, we call it snap, where she
All right, bring her
snaps
over here.
snaps her jaws together.
Oh, kind of like, it's kind of like an accelerated chittering.
No, it's, she picked it up all her own. I don't know why she does it. But when
saying
she
bow.
wants something, she snaps.
Oh, she is. She's saying bow.
Did you throw one to
And
her?
they're bowing.
She's
Oh
real
my
good at
gosh.
catching.
Is she really?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, all three of mine learned how to catch when they were little, too.
Ready?
Get ready. Ready? Good job, Susie. You are so cute. I just love you. You are absolutely adorable.
Oh, now she's got her ears up.
She does. She does. They're straight up in the air. I love that. Go ahead.
I do have some fundraising opportunities.
All right,
I
hang
don't
on
know if
just
you want
a
to do
second.
it now or after the break.
We're going to play a little quick break here, and then we're going to come back with our dear friends. I'm not going to call you John again. Pat and Bill Leanertz, because I knew Bill's brother, John. Jackie, I'm going to call him Jackie. Jack and Susie. And they're just wonderful pups on Waggin Wednesday. Here's Tania Sanders for a little break. This is Shelter from her 2007 album Soul Catcher on WCHQ 100.9 FM.
Get the sleep, your trouble.
All right, Tania. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop you now, good friend Tania Sanders, because we got a few more minutes that we need to talk to our friends from Kentucky Greyhounds. And so glad to have Bill and Pat Leanertz in the studio with us. We also have Jack, who is 11, and Susie over here, who is 9. Let me just keep following Susie. She's meeting new guests, Catherine and Susan, who are here from out and about Kentuckiana, which will be a lot of fun to talk to them about. So, Jack, are you going to get back up on the couch? No.
He's getting his
No.
He's happy for now.
He might. You never know. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So it's Catherine Birchfield, founder and president, and Susan, is it Bacino? Yes. I got it. Vice president. That's awesome. So since Jack is not going to get back up on the couch, I'm going to show Susie here. That's Susie in front of me. I'm the one with the pink shirt. Susie is the dog. Just in case you were checking to make sure. Susie. Hi, little girl. I wish I could make your ears stand up again. Look at there. She's standing up a little bit. Catherine or Susan, give her a little. Oh, look at those ears. Look at those ears standing up. Oh, her ears are all
That's
the
the
way
half
up.
cock. That's not full up.
I know,
so
but
that's
she
good.
is just
She's
irresistible.
wagging.
We have some opportunities to help you.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the fundraising that's being done for Kentucky Greyhounds.
So for right now, we have 4 items scheduled. And the first one that's coming up is Saturday, October the 8th.
Okay.
It's at the Third Turn Brewing in J-Town.
Third Turn Brewing.
They're hosting for us. It's a meet and greet opportunity, 1 to 4. I'm in the process of trying to get maybe some pizza donated, and people will donate for the pizza.
Very nice.
It's my plan. We'll see if that works out. On the next day, Sunday, October the 9th, we're also trying to get a presence in Lexington.
Oh, that's good.
And we're going to be at the Clays Mill Veterinarian Clinic in Lexington.
Okay.
And you need to check our Facebook page, and I'll do it. I think it's going to be from 1 to 3.
Okay.
They didn't come back to tell me what time it is.
All right, excellent. I love that. And Bill, you can chime in here anytime you want to and talk to us a little bit about the things that you're interested in as well. Go ahead, please.
Okay. And then
Pat.
we're going to be posting on Facebook an opportunity for a fundraiser. I cannot tell you the name of the company because
That's
it's
okay.
against their advertising rules.
That's okay.
But I do use a piece of it when I warm my lunch. I will just say that at work.
That's okay. We can't ask for donations or tell people where to go. So we're right there, right in the same boat. We can suggest that their information is available at the website. And that's
Okay.
Kentucky Greyhounds spelled out.
It's
Or KY.
We're doing KY Greyhounds because we
KY
figured it would
Greyhounds.
just get. It's the official name is Kentucky Greyhound Placement.
Oh, okay.
So it just seems we just keep calling ourselves Kentucky Greyhounds or KY Greyhounds.
Okay, sounds good.
Then we're also going to have a Barkin Bazaar, and
I
that's
like that. Is
that's
that for the
going-
holiday?
Yes.
Yeah. When's it going to be?
November the 13th, from noon to 4 at the Almost Home Boarding and Training Kennel.
Oh, I like that place.
That's on Dorsey. It's off
Yeah.
Hirschburn Lane. That's
Yeah.
a dog-friendly environment, so you can bring your leashed hound with you. People and dogs are welcome. And we're going to have various items. We'll have some silent auction. Is that okay to
Oh,
say that?
yes, of
Okay.
course. Silent auction items are great.
And then some
Can
general...
you tell me what some of them might be?
Well, it's what we're doing is the vendors will donate an item. So it'll be this is we had a similar event before with my last group. There'll be household items like maybe like Tupperware or something like that.
That'll be cool.
There'll be dog food and dog treats. Actually, Rudy Greens.
I
They
love
were not
Rudy
able
Greens.
to come last year, but I'm
Yeah.
hoping they'll come this year.
I just had her on the show
saw.
a couple weeks ago. I ate her dog food.
I saw that too, actually.
It was really good. It's human grade food, so it's not anything out of the ordinary. I don't think that you would catch me eating ID
I
out of the can.
I make their treats and you can eat them.
Oh,
They're just not
cool.
they're not sugary, which
Yeah.
is probably healthier for
Well, I
us.
put salt and pepper on the food before I ate it, so
I
it was
saw.
pretty good. Yeah. Oh, you
So,
saw my
I
video.
saw it. Yes, I did.
Oh,
I watched.
Okay, gotcha.
Most of the things at the Barkin Bazaar are going to be from local artisans. So there's pottery, there's jewelry, leather items, wood-turned items, dog apparel and collars, and holiday items. And we're trying to get ahead of the shopping season for that.
There you go.
We don't have a vendors. We just announced it, so the vendors aren't lined up yet. But that's the type of. She almost got you.
That's
the type
she
of
gave
thing.
me a couple of kisses. I loved it.
That's the type of things that we're expecting, and each of those vendors will donate an item to be used as a silent auction item.
She's chittering.
That's good. She
Means
does.
she's happy.
Yes, it does.
I love
She's
it.
just kind of started that more so in the past few months.
You gonna go see your girlfriends over there, Susie?
She
or
likes
has
them.
only Jack been over there to see the two
She went
women?
over. She knows that one lady's named Susan.
So, okay, that's good.
Oh, and speaking of which, so they have track names.
Okay.
So her track name was Sunbeam Susie.
Oh,
So they shorten it. And then Jack's name is Hilo, like the gambling
Yes.
term. Hilo Jack. So they use it's kind of like if they called Secretariat, they don't want the horse the dog in this case to recognize their names.
Right.
So they have a different call name that's just a call name. Now we think their call names was Jack and Susie, but their track name would be the fuller Hilo Jack and Sunbeam Susie.
that's so interesting.
She's solar powered. She loves to lay out in the sun, so that's a fitting name for her.
solar powered Susie.
Right.
That's what her full name should have been on the track. She appeared. Whoa, that
She's-
was a good snap.
Just
That
bored.
means she's bored.
Oh, funny. What kind of toys do they like to play with?
Soft, squeaky toys.
Yes, and they don't tear them apart.
No.
Not usually. No.
I can't throw a soft anything into my pack, or it'll be shredded within seconds.
She actually has a little braided. It's just a fleece that's been braided together. She's happy with that. Or she has a little stuffed animal that the legs really wiggle. Jack has a long snake with lots of squeakers, and
Oh,
he
yes.
squeaks all of them,
Oh
all
my
at the same
gosh.
time at about 100 miles an hour.
Hand me one of your treats if you have any left.
I don't. Just yours.
Go grab me one, Pat. I got to get her attention for a minute because I want to turn her into the camera. This will be funny. She's going. They're going for it. Jack is going to get up off the ground just to get the treat. There he goes. Oh, look at that. He hears the treats
He
coming.
knows.
He hears the treat. Oh, I just want to watch you do it because it's funnier. Come on out here if you can. If you can get them out to the middle, that'd be even better. Yeah, right here. All right. It doesn't matter. Bow and speak. Woof woof. He's like, I'm bowing. I'm standing on my hind legs. What more do you want?
He,
Yay!
he goes
Jack
to his
and
whole
Susie.
repertoire.
Oh, they're pretty sweet. I love it. Well, we've got just a few more minutes to talk to our friends from Kentucky Greyhounds, and you call it Kentucky Greyhound Placement in case anybody's looking under a different name.
Right.
But Kentucky Greyhounds is the best way to get you. Do you have a physical facility, or is it all foster based?
It is. It will be all foster based. We are so new. We were just incorporated September the 15th.
Beautiful.
So we're looking for fosters, but we're in desperate need of a web designer. So please help us.
Well, you know what? I think there are some out there I can send your way.
That would be great.
I just asked for a graphic artist myself, and I got probably 15 recommendations within the first 2 minutes. So
we have someone that has some ideas on how to design it so that we can maintain it so we don't have to usurp someone's time all the time.
Exactly.
But we need some just beginning because there's some flags you have to flip at the beginning that make a difference.
oh, that would be fun.
So yeah, that'd be great.
So we were talking to the two ladies who have just come in, by the way, from Kentucky, out and about Kentucky, Anna Catherine and Susan. We were talking about the fact that these animals only have a short racing career, but a long life. And so it's very, very important for us to make sure that they are taken someplace after they finish with their track life, which ends at 5 years of age, you
Right.
said, and getting into safe homes. What is the vetting process that you go through to find one of these dogs a home.
And I've heard some of your other shows. It's as hard to adopt a greyhound as it is to adopt a child.
Okay.
Because they
Good.
because there are bad people out there. Greyhounds are universal dog blood donors, so sometimes people will do bad things to them. So there's just so much. So we go to their homes. We look at their environment. If they have children, which we glossed upon. The child situation would be child dependent.
Mm-hmm.
Some kids are used to dogs and could handle being around a greyhound. We do talk to their veterinarians.
Mm-hmm.
What's it? Their friends. What do you call it?
References.
Thank you, references. Thank you
Yes.
for that word.
That's okay.
And just try to see, if they've ever given up a dog before, and
That's important.
that can be a problem. Rare instances, I guess that wouldn't be a deal breaker, but for the most part, that would be a tough one to overcome.
Oh, I love that. Good for you. Well done. If you are interested in getting in touch with Kentucky Greyhounds, I know that there's a ton of information on the website, and that is it KY or is it full spelled out? KY
We
Greyhounds?
do not have a website. That's why we need our
But you have a
webmaster.
Facebook page,
We have a
don't you?
Facebook page. It's KY Greyhounds.
Okay.
And there's a KY Greyhounds Friends.
Oh,
There's
that's
two
good.
pages.
Okay, so go to either one of those if you are interested in more information. I will be glad to put the link to that on my Facebook page.
Great.
And that way, anybody who's listening will be able to get in touch with one of you guys. I want to thank you both for coming in, Bill and Pat Leenertz.
Thank you for having us.
And will you give John my love?
Yes.
Sure.
Tell him I said he and I shared something special outside of the television studio, and it involved me taking a test. So just remind him
Oh, yeah.
of the fact
I
that
know.
I was
Yeah.
his best student in that test.
I'm sure you were. And thanks
so
for letting
much,
us know.
Kentucky Greyhounds. We appreciate you. That's the end of Waggin Wednesday, but we've got more great guests coming up. Our friends from out and about Kentuckiana next on Take It From Tara.
I wake up 9:30. The sun is shining and I'm feeling fine.